Spider-Gwen, Spider-Gwen, does whatever a Spider-Gwen does. Spins a web. No, she can't, 'cause she's dead. Look out! It's Andrew Garfield. Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander, where today we're actually looking back at some genuine legendary creatures. Thank Urza. And it's one I'm genuinely rather excited about. As always, if you like the cards you see here today in this video, please make sure all your purchases are done through our amazing affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps channel out quite a lot. Now, let's take a look at the multiverse hopping spider herself. Gwen Stacey is a 2/1 human performer hero for 1 generic and 1 red mana. She reads, when Gwen Stacey enters, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control this creature. And for 2 generic mana and Jeskai colors, you can transform Gwen Stacey, but only as a sorcery. Her other side, which you can also cast should you wish to, is Ghost Spider, a 4/4 with flying, vigilance and haste for 2 generic mana and Jeskai colors. Just remember kids, power creep isn't real and it can't hurt you. She reads, whenever you play a land from Exile or cast a spell from Exile, put a +1/+1 counter on Ghost Spider. And you can also remove 2 counters from Ghost Spider to exile top card of your library, which you may play this turn. Now, something to point out that I have already said, you can play either Gwen Stacey or the Ghost Spider from the command zone. You don't have to play Gwen and then flip her, but obviously do be aware the flip only works one way. But let's be real here, the game plan is to play Gwen turn 2, ramp turn 3/4, and then either play out more value pieces, set up exiled cards to play, or just plain flip Gwen into her alter ego. Unless, however, you know we are ramping super hard on turns 2 and 3, so you might just want to play the Ghost Spider out immediately, start hitting in as she does have haste. But I would still say 99% of the time it's going to be Gwen getting cast first, so we can set up that exiled card she comes with to be played once we've flipped her over. As you know, we still control the card. So we are distinctly on the Exile train and buffing our flying, vigilant commander to get in for a huge amount of commander damage. Well, at least 21. Let's get to it. At the 1 and 2 drops we've got our first bit of impulse drawing in March of Reckless Joy that will obviously need to be cast for more than 1 red mana, but until the end of our next turn is very good. Cloud of Dominus gives our commander a nice +2/+2 bonus and Shroud once flipped, which, you know, for 1 mana makes Boots seem completely unplayable by comparison, which we are of course running, and along with Swords to keep our exiling theme on track. Now, of course, with an essentially 5 mana commander, we are certainly not sticking with a 2/1 forever, so we need some mana to ramp. The talismans are all on duty, along with the ever-faithful Felwar Stone, Mind Stone, and Izzet Signet, due to red and blue being the primary colours of the deck. And in the what is technically ramp category, we have Party Thrasher to give our exiled spells Convoke, and give us some pseudo card draw, and Sword of the Animus to get us a basic each time we attack, which is going to probably be with our commander. For protecting said commander, we are running the Shroud giving Booties, Untimely Malfunction to redirect any unwanted interaction, and Borrow's Charm to give our board indestructible. We are also running a Brotherhood Regalia to give our Spider Ward 2, as well as preventing her from being blocked. Now on to means of actually exiling cards to play. Direfleet Daredevil lets us use our opponent's spot removal against them, Expressive Iteration for card draw, and Grenzo Havoc Raiser can potentially give us 3 cards for each opponent's libraries with enough attackers. Opera Love Song gets 2 cards until our next end step. Urianga Orgarel gives us a nice bit of life gain, plus a way to fix top card of our library and then play it later for cheap. And Surge of Brilliance can be foretold and then cast later hopefully to draw several cards. 2 similar cards that take advantage of all these exiling cards is Passionate Archaeologist and Spider-Man 2099. Both deal damage from playing spells from exile, but the enchantment is the spell's CMC and it's only opponent's faces, whereas our Spider Hunk over here can hit any target, but it's always equal to his power. Now up to the 3 drops, and we've got our bulk of exiling value engines here, as well as some help from across the multiverse, because you know, what is magic if not other people's IPs? The Lost in the Dam makes us a 3/3 demon whenever we play something from Exile. Tavern Brawler gives us additional card each turn and a buff to our commander, and Born, Regaling a Balladeer, gives all cards in our hands foretell, so that way we've always got cards to play to buff our Spider-Gwen. Plus the other abilities should be getting triggered pretty reliably. And Ecstatic Beauty still makes me teary-eyed every time I see it, but it should be hard for us to find something better to suspend early game and then reap the rewards when our commander gets 3 shiny new cards to play with. Onto other exiling cards, Delayed Fire Blast is removal best kept for later. Embrace the Unknown with Retrace is straight value, and Lelia the Blade Reforged is actually the deck that I'm personally taking apart to make Spider-Gwen with. Sorry Lelia. But she exiles on attack and will be getting bigger and bigger throughout the game. And when she or Spider-Gwen hits, we can cast Light Up the Stage for its spectacle cost of 1 red mana. Speaking of attacking, Long Range Sensor wants more attacking to get more charge counters to Discover 4, which yes does count as casting a spell from Exile. Along with Discover, Adventures also count as being cast from Exile. Sweeping Cleave doubling our commander's power and can then be cast from Exile as an equipment for a similar effect. Professional Facebreaker gets us treasures for dealing damage, which can then be used on more cards. With then Vega the Watcher granting us some normal card draw whenever we play one of our exiled cards. The last 2 cards at 3 CMC are Mithril Coat for Indestructible at flash speed to save our general, and Sword of Forge and Frontier, definitely one of the lesser used swords, but with its ability to exile top card and lets us get an additional land drop, it works genuinely perfectly for our deck. Now up to the 4 drops, and we're getting more cards put into Exile to be played later on, which do remember that does mean that our commander gets more and more counters on her, and thus the dream of killing with commander damage gets all the closer to fruition. We're not just, exiling cards for card advantage's own sake. As tempting as that is. Narset Enlightened Exile gives our creatures prowess for more damage, but more importantly lets us cast a spell from any graveyard if it's cheap enough by exiling it first. Mizzix's Mastery can either get just one spell or overload it to get back everything and all. And whilst yes, these copies won't trigger our Ghost Spider, considering how many instant sorceries we have, this card might as well just win us the game. Kate Sith Fortune Teller gives us a card each turn, but importantly can give our commander a potentially huge buff from that exiled card. Wild Mage Sorcerer gives our first spell Cascade, again more casting from exile, and lastly the Flux. A Saga to deal some damage and then gives us 4 turns of additional cards, and then ending off with giving us a boatload of red mana, perhaps help to cast that overloaded Mizzix's Mastery. Up to the 5 drops now, and we've got 2 new spider people joining the deck. Well, one of them's new to the deck anyway. The other Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, is a 5 mana bounce spell, which isn't great, but he does draw us cards whenever we hit a player. So if we hit all 3 opponents, we get 3 cards. And Spur//DR. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest, I have no idea how that's meant to be said, just go with it. Piloted by Penny, puts a +1/+1 counter on a creature when they enter, but importantly gives us more cards when our modified creatures deal combat damage to a player. Modified creatures like, our commander. Kami of Celebration also cares about modified creatures, impulse draws, and puts more counters on creatures for casting them. The card was genuinely practically made for this deck. The only other creature at 5 CMC is Bone Hoarder Dracosaur for more cards in our upkeep, but also gives us tokens in the form of either 3/1s or treasures. The last 2 cards we have are Mana Geyser, to be hopefully adding a ton of red mana to our pool to be able to cast all these spells we're exiling, and one such we'd love to be casting is Chandra's Ignition. After a core of exiled spells being cast, Ghost Spider should be rather high in power, so doming our opponents for damage and then wiping their board seems fairly reasonable for 5 mana. And now moving up to the high end of the deck, and once again we are reaching out into the multiverse to help, deal some hefty damage to our opponents and make them regret sitting down to play with us. Keeper of Secrets serves both Slaanesh, but also our purposes of dealing damage just by casting spells in our deck. And from D&D land, now Affinity copies our exiled spells, which does mean permanence even if we only get them for a turn. But back to actual magic. Narset Enlightened Marza gets us 4 cards into exile, and then we'll just kind of have to hope and pray none of them are creatures, but we do get to cast them for free. Mind's Desire would be an absolutely hilarious card to exile with Narset, but it's obviously best cast after a load of little spells to make the most of its Storm ability. And Itali, 3 cards exiled, played without mana, on attack. Perfect. The last 3 cards are Mind Dilation, which is honestly just a pet card of mine, but does work with our deck's theme, and 3 extra cards every rotation is not a bad thing. Starwinder, not just for the obnoxious card draw, but also that warp ability, meaning we get to cast it from exile later. And the last card is a room, namely Charred Foyer, that exiles our top card for play, and then can be unlocked to make warped space. A card that will be serving us a lot of mana, especially if we're exiling something big, like Mind's Dilation. Now onto the utility lands for our Jeskai deck, and we've got ways to make our Ghost Spider unblockable, get more card advantage, and just straight kill our opponents off absolutely nowhere. Clive's Hideaway is, as it sounds, a hideaway land, which means we're casting the spell from exile, but the stipulation isn't very hard given the number of legends in the deck. Corey Mountain Monastery gets us more exiled cards to play, and Junktown, when no longer needed, gets us junk tokens, which themselves can give us impulse card draw. Now, Lindbloom is also an adventure, again played from exile, and the token it makes will be helpful as we do have a large amount of spells to sling. The Mines of Moria is for treasure production, and Plaza of Heroes is here to save our beloved spider from any mean-spirited removal. Witch's Clinic gives our buffed up spider lifelink so we can survive any crackbacks. Sunhome, Forge of the Legion, might straight up kill an opponent given how big our commander can be, and of course, Rogue's Passage, because unblockable with a commander with that many +1/+1 counters is just perfect. Oh, and of course, Spine Rock Null. No, I forgot that one, because honestly, if we aren't doing 7 damage to someone with Ghost Spider, then honestly, that's on us, that's our fault. Overall, Gwen Stacey is the single best legend I've seen spoiled from the Spider-Man set so far. They have a perfect colour combination and a clear game plan of playing Gwen Stacey first, getting that little bit of card advantage, then being able to flip them into a genuine threat. They'll be getting bigger and bigger, and if we run out of cards to actually exile, then we can just remove some of the cards from them to start the whole process over again. Equally, the fact that we get to choose which side of this card to cast is just beautiful and actually gives us more options. As I say, if we start ramping early, we get to start the pain train early. Or if we just want the card, we can get that too. And even better, if someone does manage to kill Ghost Spider, we're not then saddled with a 7 mana cost for our commander. We can just pay the 4, get the card on entry, and then pay the normal 5 to flip back into Ghost Spider. And before anyone in the comments says, oh, you're still paying the same amount of mana, yes, I'm aware, but if we only have 5 mana sources available, casting the Ghost Spider is physically impossible. But getting out Gwen Stacey and flipping her is possible. It's not a likely thing to happen, I'm not saying it is, but it's just nice to have the option, Genuinely gets card advantage from itself, commander damage potential, and playing the best colours in all of Magic. Slightly, personally biased here, but genuinely the Ghost Spider is an amazing commander, and I am genuinely excited to be building it myself. So much so that I even sacrificed one of my favourite monocoloured decks. I'm going to be honest, I'm not even sorry. Not even sorry. That's how much I like it. And that will be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What cards are you excited about from the Spider-Man set? Let us know in the comments below. As always, all Affinity for Commander content is made possible thanks to support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. As always, if you would like access to exclusive EDH related rewards, including your own deck tech done on the channel by me, check out our Patreon link in the description box below. You can also support the channel through the quick and easy ways, liking this video, subscribing, hitting that bell icon, commenting below, and sharing it on your preferred social media platform. But as always, guys, I've been Alex. and I'll see you next time.